time for the Witchy Weather Report. How are we feeling? Am I live on Instagram? Now I should be live in both places. Let me check my audio real fast. How is everybody doing? As you can see, I'm a little all over the place this morning, but things are calming down. Don't worry. All right. We should be good. All right. Hello. I see I have at least one person watching. How are we feeling this morning? I usually start, I don't know, a little better, I think. Y'all might have heard I got a new kitten. Her name is Kaylee. We call her Chaos Kaylee. That's a little bit all you need to know. As a result, all of my wires, have been like, this is a studio, you know, like, so I kind of coiled up all of my wires so that Kaylee wouldn't like eat them. And, as a result, getting set up today was a little bit of a rush because I had to, uncoil the wires that I needed to use, such as my ring light, which I'm about to turn on. There we go. Now things are bright and nice. Okay. Hello, my name is Rory. Welcome to the Witchy Weather Report. I do this every week at 11 a.m.-ish, Eastern Time, reading, pulling cards for you for as many people as I can get to in an hour. Today I'm going to be reading from the Wildwood Tarot, which is a really cool, really unique deck. It's a little different than a lot of other tarot decks. It is not, a lot of the cards have a lot in common with the Rider-Waite, but not all of them do. Yet it's a system I really like. And I'm really excited to be sharing these cards with you today. We also, I believe, have a full moon coming up. The moon is currently waxing, meaning it's a great time to take action towards your goals, practical actions, make it happen kind of stuff, which I have been doing some real work on myself. One of the things that I have been thinking about doing is offering video readings, not Zoom readings, not one-on-one, but video readings where literally you can buy a reading from me and I pull the cards on video, kind of just like I do here on the Witchy Weather Report, and send you a personal video of your reading. If that's something you'd be interested in, let me know. It would be a more in-depth reading than you get here on the Witchy Weather Report, which is just one card pulls, lightning round kind of thing. But let me know, because I am making a lot of, I don't want to say changes, I'm like evolving my business at this time. And if you'd be interested in a video reading, receiving a private like YouTube link from me with your reading, let me know. I would love to, I think I'd love to do that. It was suggested to me by my friend Patty Bell, who might be in the comments. Are you here yet? No, you're not. Judith knows my cat's name is Kaylee. Chaos Kaylee. She's crazy. She is a crazy lunatic, and that's all I can tell you. Hey, Ondine. Good to see you. All right. Let me get my banners up. As I was telling people who are tuned in on Facebook, I had a little bit of a rough time getting going this morning because my cat, Kaylee, is a maniac. She's a kitten. She was born July 1st, so she's not even 3 months old. You know, we basically got her when she was old enough to be separated from her mom. She's still tiny, and she is a crazy lunatic. And so she really is into wires and cables. And this room that I'm in right now is my studio. Like, it's my home studio. As you can imagine, there are a lot of wires and cables. So, I went to set up today and I'm like, oh, all of the wires and cables are in different places because I just like hastily would move them so she wouldn't eat them over the last week. So that's pretty much, that's how we're feeling today. It's been a real adventure with Kaylee, and it's been a really sweet adventure too. She's an incredibly sweet cat. She's learning really fast. It's really, really inspiring in a way to watch kind of the intellectual and physical development of a kitten. Like, we brought her home. She was really kind of nervous and clingy. She's still clingy. She doesn't like to be left alone. And by like day 3, she had learned to go up and down the stairs, which are still bigger than she is, but she figured it out because she was determined. And like by day 5, she was better about a couple of behavior things, like not playing with toys with claws, not people, no claws for people. She's better already about being careful about that. And I'm really like, it's really amazing to watch. It's really amazing to see how fast that development takes place. In literal days. We've only had her for a little more than a week. Yeah, baby Moonchild Kitty. She's a Cancer. She's a Cancerian. Born in July, very beginning of July. So that's a thing. So our household now is a Virgo, me, a Pisces, my husband, and a Cancer. I'm surrounded by water signs, which kind of works for me, to be real honest. I've always found water to be a very soothing influence in my life. Hello, I see someone on Twitch saying, hi, what's this stream about? Hello, thank you for tuning in. My name is Rory. This stream is called the Witchy Weather Report. I am going to be pulling a card for us all to talk about the energy of this week, a tarot card. I'm a tarot reader. And then I will pull individual cards for anyone who would like one for as long as I have time. I set up to an hour for this stream. So that's the story. That is what this stream is about. Stick around if you would like to be a part of it. And if you are just tuning in, I want y'all to know that the secret code on the Witchy Weather Report, if you want a card pulled for you, is to drop a cat emoji in the chat. The reason I do that with the cat emoji, instead of just saying like pull a card, is because there seem to be spam bots that search for words like pull a card for me and stuff like that. And the spammers come when people actually talk about pulling tarot cards in the comments, I have found. So we use a secret code. We drop a cat emoji in the chat, or we just write the word meow, which also is delightful because cats, what's not to love? So I'm reading for you today from the Wildwood Tarot. I really enjoy it. Really touches a lot on like English folklore of kind of the forest, the concept of the woods as the wild, as a metaphor for our, wilder selves. It really has spoken to me, like the wild woods have been a thing for me in the last the last little bit. I have some woods near my house. I like to hike in them in the winter. In the summer I don't as much because ticks. But it's really a different kind of place. It's really amazing. It's a very, I'm in a fairly suburban area, so it's not like there is a ton of land to wander through. It's certainly less than a mile, like maybe less than half a mile, like square. And yet, you walk in there for 5 minutes, and if you're not paying attention, it's very easy to get lost and turned around. And there's something special about that to me. And like I approach it with appropriate caution because I don't really want to get lost in the woods, But there's something special about that, like that I can walk 5 minutes from my house and find a place where like I could literally like really get lost. I could not like metaphorically, lose yourself. Like I could literally lose myself. And I'd probably find my way out okay because it's a small space. But I definitely like have gone in there with all caution, and mindful about, which way is north and all of that. It's really clear on Long Island, and I'm on the North Shore. Like north is the direction the water is in, for me. So even being careful, even being mindful of what turns I was taking and stuff like that, I found it really easy to get lost. So the Wildwood Tarot, I just felt called to, pull this deck this morning. Sometimes I pick kind of at random. Sometimes I honestly pick the deck that feels easiest for me to read with that particular day if I'm low energy. Today, the Wildwood Tarot felt right. I often use this deck when I am at times of transition myself and feel like there are things I need to understand better about myself and about, I don't know, like the energy of whatever is happening and going on, So I'm going to pull a card for us all. I would like to give this a share on Facebook because I think as usual, Facebook notifications are lagging. We have fewer people than we often do. And I encourage you, if you're watching this, wherever you're watching this, like share or invite a couple people, like tag someone that you think might enjoy the broadcast. I would absolutely love it if you did that. By the way, I don't know if people watch the replay of these because I recognize that, like, if you tune in to get a card pulled, I can't do that for you if you're watching the replay, obviously. But I know that I read at the beginning a card for everyone. If anyone is watching the replay, type replay in the comments because I would just love to know. I would love to know, what people are doing with this. And if so, I will try to make the replay more engaging for you, All right, let's see. How is everyone doing today? I can't believe I didn't ask. I usually start every stream asking how everyone is doing. And I want y'all to know, you know this if you know me, I don't mean like, hey, how are ya? I mean like, how are you? I want to know how you're feeling. I want to know what's going on for you, like what's big on your mind this week. I want the real answer, not the polite, we're saying hello passing in the hall answer. I want the real answer. I really want to know how you're doing because this is a vulnerable space and a safe space. And I love that, and I want to keep it that way. We all support each other on this stream. If you haven't been to the Witchy Weather Report before, you will see how supportive everyone can be and how it really is, a community. And that is how I feel about it. It's not just about me. It is about us coming together and supporting each other and each other's growth as a community. And I know we've seen different members of our community through some pretty big things, through things like career transitions, through loss and grief, through illness at times. And it's just wonderful how everyone has come together to show up for one another during these times. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, let me pull a card for you today. Ondine says, better than the ARG I was feeling. That's ARG, a lot of R's, all caps. I am glad. I am glad you have reduced your ARG quotient. Or is it like R, like a pirate? Because if you're less piratey, well, I guess that could be good, Certainly a reduction in parrots and rum, but, you take the good with the bad. Let's see. Has anyone said anything in the comments here? Judith says, set my AC on high and snuggled under a blanket. Big mood. I love that. I love blanket snuggles. I love the fall. I'm so excited about the weather getting cooler. The fall always seems like a real time of possibility for me. I don't know if, like, a little bit, I'm a Virgo, I just had my birthday, August 28th. I'm an August Virgo. So it's like a new year for me. And we have new year energy big in the fall. We have kids going back to school. I'm not a kid and I don't have kids, but that energy has stayed with me over the years. We have Rosh Hashanah, which literally is the Jewish New Year. So we have these big, fresh start vibes in the fall. And I really, I'm so here for it. I really love it. So, I'm feeling that energy, and a lot of that is the world getting cooler, which I know traditionally, in the pagan wheel of the year and stuff, it's it's a time for rest. It's a time to nurture ourselves as the world cools in winter. In the fall, though, I feel this great spur of activity, and maybe that's evolutionary, right? Maybe it's we're getting ready for winter, and I certainly feel that. As someone with seasonal work, I work a lot more easily and frequently in the summer because of what I do. But, so I do think about preparing for winter, but I don't know. There's just really exciting fresh start energy every fall. I love it. I'm accessing it. And I love that you just got the AC cranked and you're snuggled under the blanket. We're doing fall anyway. I'm really, really here for it. Let's see. I think Mary Jane said something. What did you say, Mary Jane? Good except for being torn by an ex resurfacing and wanting to meet. Pinballing between no and yes. Oh my gosh, Mary Jane. I feel your struggle. I'm holding myself back from giving you advice because you didn't ask for advice. If you would like advice from the cards, let me know and I will pull one for you about that. If you just like a card about something else, that's fine too. Hey, Patty Bell, good to see you. All right, so I am going to pull a card for all of us. This is our card of the week. Just to talk about the energy this week, we do have a new moon, not a new moon, the other thing, a full moon coming up, which is a great time for culmination, for kind of big graduation feels, looking back, reflecting on what we have accomplished, tying up any loose ends for the things we've been working on in this week, and allowing ourselves to be thankful both to ourselves and to the universe. That's what the full moon is great about. And if you are making any kind of big push, I am, as you know, I'm doing a money manifesting challenge this week, or this whole month, and really doing a lot of work on my career. The full moon gives a lot of great energy to that. It's great magnetic, attractive energy for going after what you want. And then as the moon begins to wane, we will move into more reductive energy of like decluttering, saying no in order to say yes, that kind of energy. All right. I've been yammering for a while. Let me pull the card. My goodness. Okay. Here is our card of the week. It is the Blasted Oak, which is analogous. Let me make sure this is showing up in both places. Yes. This is analogous with the Tower in this deck. The Blasted Oak hit by lightning. You can see this lightning strike. This big couple of branches have come off of this oak tree. You notice the oak tree is not dead. It's just a couple of big branches. And in fact, unfortunately, it's the branch that this guy was sitting on. And now he is on fire and falling from the tree branch. So there's a little bit of a crisis situation. And what this really represents is there's definitely a crisis of consciousness, but it is about external forces. It's about a situation in your life that makes you look around and go like, oh, I was not as safe and secure and solid as I thought. In fact, the structures and foundation that I counted on to support me were not as solid as I believed them to be. They were not indestructible, you know? And so that leads to, that's an important distinction. It's an external thing happening, right? This chaos that I know several of us have been feeling, like life has been an obstacle course lately, like we are playing on hard mode, and these chaotic happenings that make us realize, oh, I need to do something about this because my foundation is not as stable as I believed, which is not us blaming ourselves, right? Because that's just life, you know? Things change over time. You know, trees hollow out and become susceptible to things like lightning strikes, you know, really damaging them instead of being able to take it. And things like wind is a better metaphor because I think a lightning strike will mess anyone up. You know, trees become more susceptible to damage as they get older. Just naturally, as we go through our lives, the structures we set up to support us become more susceptible to damage. And in a way, the more sturdy they are, the more susceptible they are to not being what we need over time, because we need to be adaptable, right? Like flexibility is needed. This is illustrated really well with trees, actually. Trees sway in the wind. That is needed. It is better for a tree and a building, buildings are built this way, skyscrapers, to sway with the wind than to just break because they're too rigid to sway, right? And what happens with the tower is pieces of our lives break because they were too rigid to sway with the kind of chaos that has befallen us. And so, here's what I want to explain to you about the tower. I want to tell you it is chaotic action. Someone, I don't remember who it was, but if you're on my Patreon, we have a Discord server, and we have this great little tarot bot named Pixie that my patron Grayson was generous enough, like they coded Pixie and allowed us to use it on the server. So a lot of times people will like pull cards from Pixie, and someone got the tower and was like, oh yeah, a good time for decluttering energy and stuff like that. And while it is definitely like change energy, the tower is bigger than decluttering, my friends. The tower is the energy that makes us go like, oh crap, I have to really do a 180 and reconsider everything. Tower is big, chaotic energy. It is not energy that is in our control. And when we are called to be the tower, we are actually called to be a bit chaotic. We are called to go ahead and speak our minds and act on our impulse a little bit, because that is the energy that is needed to create change in a situation. I'm sure you've been in a situation like this where things are so stagnant, and things have gotten to a level that isn't working for the people involved, but simply saying, hey, I don't think this is working in a polite tone of voice is not going to fix the problem, you know? It's gone too far for that. It's where like we really at that point actually need to do something a bit chaotic. We need to, to clear off the desk, like, and be like, listen, change needs to happen right now. Like chaotic energy is required to make that change because everyone has gotten a little too comfortable with an uncomfortable situation. So that is the essence of the Tower, or this deck calls it the Blasted Oak. So I want you to look at the chaos in your life right now, and I know this is hard, and assume that it's a blessing. I want you to look at the chaos in your life and say, you know what? Everything that is happening right now is exposing the parts of my life that I thought were supportive and perhaps truly were not what I needed to support me through these times. And knowing that empowers us to make changes in our life to support ourselves better. One of the most beautiful quotes about the Tower that I've ever heard comes from a podcast I listen to all the time called Big Strong Yes. And the quote is, "Now that the barn is burned down, I can see the moon." And it really gives you this sense of, okay, something ridiculous and terrible has happened, but in a way it has made me appreciate what I do have so much more. It's made me understand what's important. It's a real clarifier. When we're in these kind of chaotic events, it makes us go, you know what? I understand what matters now. And that's important. It's really easy to get caught up in the small stuff and not think about that. So that's where we're at. That's our energy for this week. If you find yourself in chaos, I encourage you, as challenging as it is, sorry, I'm like trying to undo my hair and it's caught on itself. As challenging as it is, ask yourself if there's a way you can view this chaos as a blessing, as a sacred messenger to help you make your life serve you better. Okay. Undine says, oh boy, there's more after the week I just had. I think this kind of timing happens differently for different people. So maybe you've already had your Tower moment. Maybe now you're in your recovery moment, Maybe now you're in the moment of, okay, I had the Tower moment and I'm in the learning phase, Hey Fred, good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Patty Bell says, chaos can be very creative. Absolutely. Chaos can be incredibly creative. Creative people, I think, know that times of chaos and upheaval in their lives can lead to real inspiration, And I don't think it's necessarily true that that's the only way to be inspired. I think a lot of times, I'm a songwriter. A lot of my fellow songwriters joke about like, oh, here's another depressing song. Like, it's easy for us to write when things aren't feeling so good. We have a lot to say about that. And I think that it is possible to be creative around things being positive as well, in a way that's not like hokey, like, oh, everything's so great, in a real meaningful way. But yeah, chaos absolutely breeds creativity. And, that's life. Life is chaotic. Life is not organized. We try our best to organize it. And then there's the platypus. You know what I mean? We try our best to organize and classify things. And then there's the platypus, this animal that's a mammal, but it lays eggs. Also, by the way, it's venomous. And if it bites you, you might die. And it's adorable. I feel that the platypus really encapsulates how humans are like, yeah, we can just like organize things and put them in neat little boxes and that will make our lives more manageable. And the platypus is like, manage this. How are you going to classify me? Life is like the platypus. Anyway, I have some requests for cards. I think Judith was first, then Mary Jane, then Ondine, then Patty Bell, and then Brittany. That's who I've got. Okay, I've got some people, got some comments in the chat I want to throw up. Oh, just on time for the card of the week. Hello, Ren. Good to see you. Drop a cat in the chat if you would like me to pull a card for you. Either put a cat emoji or write the word meow. That is the secret code that we use. I offer these readings freely. You are absolutely welcome to throw some love in the virtual tip jar, which is right there on my screen if you're watching this. In most places, if you're on Instagram, you can find it, what's that thing? In the link in my bio. And again, appreciated but never expected. I don't offer the Witchy Weather Report with expectation of remuneration. It's just something I do to kind of share something I'm good at with the community and allow us all to come together. All right, let's see what people are saying. Patty Bell says, our bots rock. Thank you, Grayson. Yeah, our bots really do rock. If you are interested in joining my Discord community, it's patron only. It's really a special community, not unlike how special we are here in the comments. Like how much strong community bond we have here on the Witchy Weather Report. But it goes deeper. We do often challenges. We're doing a money manifesting challenge right now. We get real personal about our spiritual growth and what's going on for us. We share adorable pictures of our pets. It's a really special place. If you'd like to get in on that, $1 a month or more will get you there. It's patreon.com/Sassafras Tarot. And that should be scrolling across the bottom there, and also in the pinned, not pinned comment, in the link in my bio if you're on Instagram. Anyway, Brittany says, I love this. Let's have some tower love, because I love the tower as well. One of the best transformative times in my life was when I embraced the tower and also the rune Hagalaz. I apologize if I'm butchering that. I look at the pronunciation of runes and I'm like, Hagalaz, which sounds like Haagen-Dazs, so delicious ice cream rune, I'm assuming. But it was so difficult. Yes, the tower is this week's card. Yeah, it is difficult. It is like to embrace the tower is literally like embracing chaos. As someone who has a brand new kitten, I know just how pointy it can be to embrace chaos. You're gonna get some cuts and bruises. I'm walking around with like cuts on my arm because I have a kitten. It is hard to embrace chaos. It definitely is not without its pointy bits, but it can be so transformative. Okay, let's see. What else are people saying? Humans want routine? What does that make me? Yeah. Platypus energy. I love it. Ondine says these are good metaphors. Thank you. Thank you for appreciating my ridiculous metaphors. I just think I'll talk about a platypus anytime I can. Because I'm a fan. I'm just a fan. Like, platypus energy, there's nothing in the world like it. It's like platypus, like, I'm here, I'm weird, I'm adorable. If I bite you, you'll die. I lay eggs. Have a great day. It's just like, wow. What an arrangement of ideas. You see those memes about, God creating the animals of the world and his like chief angel being like, okay, God, what do you want to do with this animal? And, the platypus is one of my faves. Coffee. It makes your readings better. Platypus fangirl. Yes, 1,000,000%. That is who I am. Patty Bell says, I draw the tower so often, it's become an old friend. Yeah, I can really see that. You are not alone. Susanna from Anti-Fraud Tarot, the tower and the 9 of Swords are like her calling cards. Actually, I think that is true of you as well, Patty Bell. I wonder if you guys have like parallel paths a little bit. Because I know both cards come up often for you as well. Anyway, let me start pulling cards for people. Judith is first. After Judith, I believe Mary Jane is on deck. If you have put a cat in the chat, you are on deck for a reading. I got you. If you have not and you would like me to pull a card, just drop a cat emoji or write the word meow and I will read for you. Hey, Ruby, good to see you. Ruby, since you just came in, for anyone who just came in, if you're lurking, our card of the week is the Tower. That means that there is going to be chaos. There probably already has been chaos in your life, right? Is anyone else feeling this energy? Because, oh boy, I am. This is the sort of chaos that can be a real beneficial, transformative teacher. It shows us very dramatically where we need to change in a way that's helpful, right? I'm someone, I don't know about you. When I ask the universe for guidance, I usually say, I really need guidance and I really need you to hit me over the head with it because I'm slow. Because I don't always get the subtle message because of confirmation bias, limiting beliefs. Like, there are lots of reasons I can get stuck in my own cycles, as we all can. So when I ask for guidance, I'm like, just smack me in the face with it. Go right ahead. I just want to know. And the Tower is that kind of guidance. It really is the universe smacking you upside the head and being like, guess what? These are the things you need to work on. And that's the kind of energy we have in our life right now. So I invite you to embrace it if you possibly can. It will feel chaotic, but I invite you to look at it as a blessing as much as you can. Ren says, I am chaos, LOL. Is it really you, or did my kitten somehow get over to your keyboard and type that? Because let me tell you. All right, I'm pulling a card for you at this time, Judith. Ruby says, oh my gosh, yes, me too. Sometimes more sarcastically. I can definitely be sarcastic with the universe, believe me. All right, Judith, this is your card. Your card is the Three of Arrows, and what's really interesting about this deck has keywords attached to many of its cards. It's the only deck that I've seen so far that keywords don't annoy me. Because I'm not, like, I don't want keywords on my friggin' cards. Like, I'll learn the keywords if I find that useful. I don't want keywords, but I actually like them here. I think it's an interesting context because this is an unusual deck. So Three of Swords, and the keyword is jealousy. And you can see this is literally like there's this beautiful wooden heart hanging on a tree. It is lit on fire and has been hit with several arrows. Here's what's important, and here is your chaotic teacher this week, Judith. It's what feels crappy and makes you feel resentful and bitter. And I'm sorry, that's annoying. But those feelings are your greatest teachers this week. Often, for me as someone in a performance career, an entertainment career, that is where my jealousy tends to arise. And I know I'm not alone. You know, like looking at other people who I perceive to be more successful than me, who I perceive to have had an easier time finding success than I have, which may or may not be true, right? You know, but that's my perception. You know, people who have like the beautiful Instagram highlight reel of their lives, and I'm like, wow, I'm over here struggling. Cool. That's what tends to arise, my particular jealousy. And I mention that because I know you and I have that in common, Judith. We're both musicians. What's important about our jealousy as a messenger is, even as it really hurts us, it really, like, we really need to be gentle with ourselves around jealousy. I think a lot of people look at it as like a useless emotion. I strongly disagree. I do understand that it's an emotion that can, unchecked, you know, can be harmful, right? Like, it's not harmful for us. It's not helpful for us to dwell on other people's success instead of working on our own. It's not helpful for us to allow ourselves to become resentful or catty. You know what I mean? But it is helpful for us to know what lights us up. This heart is literally in flames, and that is because jealousy always comes around something that literally lights our hearts on fire. And our hearts being lit on fire can be a beautiful, wonderful thing. It tells us what we love. It tells us what our life is about. It tells us what brings meaning to our life, right? I don't get jealous of people who have like great 9-to-5 careers and an office that make them a bunch of money and they can buy a yacht now, because I don't ever want to live that life. I don't feel jealousy. I'm just like, you made different choices than I did. I hope they're working for you. Good for you. You know what I mean? I get jealous of people who have what I want. You know, I get jealous of looking at someone else's path and going, why isn't that mine? And that's a great teacher. It shows me what path I need to be fulfilled. It shows me what I need in my life. People being jealous of other people's relationships and stuff like that, it doesn't necessarily mean I need to have that exact person that they have. It means that's the kind of person I need to support me. What is it that you're jealous of? Are you jealous of the partner being really supportive, really interested in your passion? Are you jealous of their ability to have a really great long conversation and you don't feel like you've had that in your relationships? Whatever it is, like, that's the clue. That's what lights you up. That's what you need in your life. Sometimes we don't always know. So your jealousy is your teacher right now. I encourage you to go hard after what lights your heart on fire and allow your jealousy, painful as it is, to be the teacher this week. Judith says, fascinating. Venus is in Scorpio now. Wowzers. That's all I have to say about that. Okay, I have a couple of comments. Brittany has asked for her reading to be focused on something in particular. I'll scroll back up and read that when I'm about to play your card, Brittany. And if you ever have a particular question you would like me to draw for you on, please let me know. I'm happy to. Just put it in the comment anytime. Okay. Judith says, letting go, recycling of dead technology this week. Ooh, I love that. I definitely have some dead technology I should let go of. Ren says, the little feline that lives with me is major chaos, but he sleeps in daylight. Ah, vampire chaos then. Patty Bell says, Tower and Nine of Swords so often, but I've learned so much. I've had so much chaos this week I had to call you. I know, we had a chaos call. Was that a chaos call, though? Because that was, I think, Patty Bell, you have learned to thrive in chaos because that felt like a really productive call. That felt like a call of being like, I'm going to do this thing. Not like, my life is chaotic. Maybe my life is chaotic is what led to, I'm going to do this thing now. Anyway, I'm always here to be your, whatever, chaos co-handler. That's what we're here for. Yes, Patty Bell says, jealousy can also reveal steps to take and moves to make. Yeah, if you see someone who is, I don't know, getting an accolade that you wish was yours, that's a big clue of what you need to do. If someone wins a contest and you didn't enter that contest, whose fault is that? Enter the damn contest next time it comes around, you know? Okay, let's see. Brittany says, jealousy is one of the emotions that I'm working on in therapy. I actually spun it as a positive thing, and my therapist said she'd not heard it talked about like that before, and it was actually really helpful to view it like this. I can't remember my exact phrasing, but we don't always need to push away our jealousy. It can teach us valuable lessons about why we're feeling this way. Yes, 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 yes. I love it. I want to have like a little bell I can ring. Wait, I don't have a bell, but here's what I have when I love a comment. That's how good I feel about that comment. Red says, maybe choke on my granola laughing. That's what I'm here for. Again, I say. Okay, Patty Bell says, I needed to bounce it off you to get clarity. Yeah, that's what friends are for. I feel you. And I think you were already clear and you just needed permission, which is also what friends are for. Patty Bell says, jealousy is also a great moment to give ourselves self-compassion. Yes. I just don't want to make the mushroom sound again, but I feel the mushroom sound in my heart. I want to keep it, you know, so it's fun, not annoying. But this is one of my favorite toys. Okay, I did it. Emily, hello, Emily. Drop a cat if you'd like me to pull a card for you. You know I'd love to. How are you doing? Okay, everyone, if you missed it, because I see a couple of people coming in who were not here before, if you missed it, the card of the week for everyone is the Tower. That means there is big chaotic energy in the air, and I'm encouraging you to look at the chaos as a blessing in disguise. Because, oh boy, is it disguised, but it is a blessing. It tells us what we need to do for ourselves, for our lives. It is the universe smacking you in the face, going like, this is the area you need to focus. Do it! That's what our chaotic experiences are this week. So take it as a blessing as best you can and, you know, learn the lessons that come up. Okay. I've got Mary Jane. Then I have Ondine on deck. I better get moving. I'm so chatty today because y'all are just, I love talking with you. I love the things everyone has had to say this morning. I can get real lost in conversation. All right, Mary Jane. You got a reversal. I didn't even know I was doing reversals today. Did I shuffle some reversals? Yes, I did. All right, look at that. Mary Jane, you have a reversal. It is the Queen of Stones in reverse. Queen of Stones is Pentacles. And I want to show you that the animal associated with this deck, sorry, I'm trying to make this visible everywhere. This deck puts animals on its court cards for reasons. This is the bear. This is particularly a cave bear. Extinct, nifty, vegetarian bears. Really cool pals. Look them up, cave bears. Anyway, here's what I have to say to you about being the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. You may be trying to control your resources too much. You may be feeling like every little thing needs to be managed by you. Otherwise, everything is going to go all to hell. And while you may be amazing, you probably are amazing at managing your resources and amazing at getting organized and amazing at making sure that every situation is kind of moving along as it should. What that does is it drains a tremendous amount of energy from you, right? Like if you literally have to be managing every single aspect of your life, that's exhausting. You know, we have two different kinds of muscles in our bodies on purpose. And one of them is the kind that is actively activated, like my hands, right? I'm doing this right now. I am choosing to wiggle my hands around like a maniac. And then we have smooth muscle, which we don't control, which just gets controlled kind of by itself to facilitate the things that need to happen. Me breathing right now, I can control my breathing if I choose to, but I don't have to. If I go to sleep, I'm just going to breathe. It's okay. Digestion, swallowing water and bringing it down to our, whole system there to digest. That smooth muscle, our heart beating, right? We don't have to constantly control things like our heart beating, things like digestion, things like breathing. In other words, the stuff that makes our bodies run, we don't have to consciously manage that. And if you are consciously managing all of the things that make your life run right now, I understand why you may feel like you have to, but that's exhausting and it's draining and you're going to be depleted. So I really want to encourage you to ask yourself what you cannot consciously manage this week, what you can put on autopilot. If there are systems you can set up for yourself, or maybe even systems that are already in place that you're not taking advantage of because you're nervous about, not having your eye constantly on things. And I just pulled a regular card because I wasn't sure if you wanted advice around your ex, Mary Jane. So if you want me to pull a separate card for you about the ex, I'm happy to. Because I think right now what the tarot is telling you is like, your resources do not need to be depleted, constantly managing everything. You need to find areas to take a step back. And that may be the message that chaos has for you this cycle. Brittany says, I think it's so interesting that all of these cards seem to build on each other. Every time I come to the Witchy Weather Report, it feels like it's one big reading for me because it's so appropriate for what I'm going through. I really know what you mean, and I take away a lot from it as well, personally. Also because one of the ways I access my intuition is when I pay attention to what I'm saying to other people, often there's messages I need to hear in there. But yeah, I think there's a lot of thematic stuff that a lot of us are going through kind of collectively right now. And I think the cards tend to hit it, during the Witchy Weather Report for whatever reason. So I'm grateful for that. Okay, Ondine, I am pulling a card for you. Ondine, your card is the 8 of Arrows. And the key word, which I am sure you can relate to right now, because I know everything that's been going on for you has been a challenge lately, is struggle. The 8 of Arrows is about continuing to do your best and not feeling that you get the results that you want. You see this person like they've got like the hermit, they have a lamp, they're in the snow, they're in the elements, they're wearing a hood, they're like, gee, I hope I can get to a better place. I hope this journey takes me where I'm going. You can see that they're surrounded by these discarded arrows. The 8 of Arrows suggests to us, and by the way, arrows are analogous to swords in this deck, so air. It's about us continuing to try, continuing to put our efforts out there and feeling like nothing is working. It's also a card of isolation. It's really a card that makes us feel like we have to figure it out ourselves, and yet we feel unsupported. We don't feel like, oh, I can do this. Like the Hermit is a card, it's the positive, side of that, right? Of like, I have the answers within me. The 8 of Arrows, here we've got the Hermit's lamp, and she's like, I've got the answers within me? What? Like, I need to get out of the snow, So it really is that feeling of feeling stuck. And what I have to tell you is that you're not as stuck as you feel. And I want to just send you a lot of, I'm just sending you big pink hearts right now from myself, because I've been going through this myself. I've been going through this real time of feeling like, I know I can figure this out, and yet I know I can't figure this out. Just feeling like there's too much on me. There's too much to figure out, and I don't know how to do it by myself, and I don't even know what help to ask for. I think that's the real energy of the 8 of Arrows. And so I really encourage you. I know we talked about us doing a reading together this weekend, and I'd be up for it. I'd love to read for you, because that is what helped me. I reached out for guidance. I was like, help me out, universe. Hit me over the head with it. Tell me what to do. Sometimes that's what we need to do. And it doesn't have to be in the form of, getting a tarot reading from someone. It can be in the form of asking our dreams, asking our higher self, whatever works for you to seek wisdom. But what I want to tell you is, it's not a problem of you needing to apply more like sweat equity. It's not a problem of you needing to push harder. It's a problem of something that you're not seeing that is crucial for you to see. And so what's good about that is that once you see it, instantly there's a shift, because instantly you're like, okay, I understand the change I have to make, or the changes. And it's usually it's a mindset shift. And that may have external result, like, right, as a result of the mindset shift, you might be like, oh, I was doing this, but now that I see it this way, this is how I'll do it. And that's going to have both internal and external results for you. Okay. Who else am I reading for today? Brittany says, 8 of Swords is one of my cards. Very familiar. Me too. Okay, Mary Jane says, please do pull a card about the ex. I will. Okay. I usually do not pull 2 cards for people, by the way, but I think Mary Jane must have wanted me to pull a card about her ex, and I didn't see it, so I'm doing that. Okay. Here's your card about your ex. Another reversal. 5 of Bows, empowerment. However, it's reversed. Let's talk about... First of all, I just want to tell you this is hilarious that this comes up as an X, because this is the most graphic card. Oh, I guess I should have like given a content warning. There's like a representation of a guy with his genitals out on this card. 5 of Bows. Bows are like wands. And this is really like this representation of this... you know, this is a real, what's the word? You know, like land feature somewhere in England is this like weird like sculpture thing of a giant with his business out with he's got like an arrow and a bow and a stick to hit things with. Anyway, 5 of Bows is about like brute force. It really is about like pushing to get what you want and feeling like I'm just gonna push and my way's gonna win. It can really be a card of competition, and it's in reversed. So the keyword for this card upright is empowerment. In reverse, let's talk about disempowerment that comes from competition. And I want you to ask yourself if you are feeling like you actually internally want to reconnect with this person, or if you just feel like you have to somehow meet the aggressive request, even if it wasn't framed aggressively. I know there are people who can kind of have that type of manipulative style that make you feel like, oh, I don't actually want this conversation, but now I don't have a choice but to show up for it. Like they have a way of getting your back up. And if that's something that you had a lot in that relationship, that feeling of like, I'm having a conversation that I thought was a normal conversation and suddenly it feels uncomfortable and like a power struggle, I'm going to tell you personally that I don't know if that's a healthy place for you to go to. And you know, that's your choice. But that's the energy that it's going to have. It's not going to feel like, oh, here's a great reunion where we work everything out. It might feel more petty and challenging to have a conversation with that person. So take that for what it is. I'm not someone who likes to give advice beyond sharing like, hey, this is the energy around the situation, because we have free will. Free will is a thing. But yeah, there you go. Okay, let's see who's next. Mary Jane says, oh boy, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's like not a pleasant card for me to pull for you, and I'm sorry. Ondine says, of course they're here to install the new dishwasher now. Chaos. I guess I'll have to catch the replay. Okay. Well, I hope your card was helpful to you, and I'll talk to you later this weekend, Ondine. Thank you for tuning in. Hello, Shipra. Am I saying that right? I will pull a card for you. You're added to the list. I have a couple people ahead of you, but I'm happy to pull a card for you. It says, when will I get married? I will say that the tarot doesn't always, not always the best for timing. It's not always the best for saying this is when something will happen, but it will often show the energy around a situation. So I will pull a card for you. We'll see what comes up. Oh, good. I am saying your name right. I'm glad. That's important to me. Everyone, if I ever say your name wrong, please correct me. Or if I ever like misgender you wrong, or use the wrong pronouns for you, please correct me there too, because I want to be corrected. I want to get it right. All right, let's see. Who am I pulling cards for? We had Mary Jane, Patty Bell, Brittany. I know a couple other people are watching but haven't dropped a cat yet. Okay, Patty Bell, Brittany, Ruby, Ren, Emily, did you want a card? And then Shipra. Okay. Okay, Patty Belly, I'm pulling a card for you, my dear. And then after that, I know Brittany had a specific question, so I'll scroll up to read your question. Hey, Connie, so good to see you. I see you dropping a cat in the chat. I love it. You're on deck. There's a few people ahead of you. I'm going to start reading real fast because it's getting to be late. That's on me. I've been chatting it up today. Patty Bell, here is your card. Your card is the Ace of Bows, the spark of life. What a card to get when you are about to embark on a new professional venture. I don't know if I know what you're about to embark on, Patty Bell. I don't know if it should be public knowledge yet, so I'm not going to speak of it publicly. I'm just saying, like, the Ace of Bows, like, what a confirmation that you are about to step onto a new path that is potentially really, really powerful for you. Bows are wands in this deck, and the Ace of Bows is, you can consider it the Ace of Fire, the creative spark, you know. So, wow. You know, the spark of life is literally the keyword written on this card. So this is a confirmation. This is telling you, yes, you're on the right track. Follow this new beginning. Own it. And it is also giving you a hint for how to follow it. Follow it creatively. Follow it passionately rather than dispassionately. Rather than try to organize the hell out of it, you are encouraged to follow it in a way that lights your heart up. Whatever that means for you. Chats are great, though. It's true. Okay. Unless you were speaking in the French and you were like, chats are great, like les chats, which is the cat. Cats are also great. Especially French cats. They just, like, wreak havoc, but they do it with a beret on their head. That's my understanding of what French cats do. Okay, Brittany, I know you had a particular question. Let me scroll up here and see what that is. Okay, can my cat be focused on relationships, please? I'm having some interpersonal problems, and I also want guidance that smacks me in the face. Yes, that's what I'm here for. Don't worry, I got you. Patty Bell says, I'm building the webpage as I watch you. Ooh, I love it! Very excited. I hope you'll drop that in our Discord so I can see it later. I really want to see what you come up with. Okay, interpersonal stuff for Brittany. Brittany, here's your card. It is another reversal. This is an interesting one, and I think you have gotten your wish to have something smack you in the face. The Guardian. Now, this is analogous to death in this deck. It was reversed. I'm going to give you first I'm going to describe the Guardian a little bit in this deck. The Guardian really is best described in this deck as a gatekeeper to another realm. Death is understood in this framework not as simply an ending, but as a portal where you step from one chapter to another chapter and experience something new, like dramatically different. And in order to cross through the portal, it must be established that you are ready for it. You must kind of convince the Guardian that that you are worthy of crossing over. So unlike our kind of Western understanding of death, of like death shows up and is like, it's your time, you have to go and convince the Guardian, like, I'm worthy of this, I'm worthy to level up. Now the Guardian is reversed. What this tells me, Brittany, is that there's an ending that needs to happen that you are avoiding. I don't know if that's as simple as this relationship needs to end, or if it's something more like I need to set some boundaries and I need to enforce them whether or not I'm comfortable with it, because this chapter of a relationship needs to end. And I can tell you, sometimes it's that. Sometimes there are a lot of tarot readers whose like universal advice when it comes to relationship reading is it's like, dump him, you know, right? Like that's a meme, that's a trope. Or whatever, cut them off. I'm not that person. And I know relationships are more complicated than that. However, though I am not someone who very frequently cuts people out of my life that are important to me, because wow, that would be crazy to do frequently. But though I'm not someone who tends to jump to that as a solution, I am someone who has stood up and said, this relationship as it stands is not working and needs to end. I won't continue with this relationship. If you and I are going to be in relationship together, it needs to be a new relationship with new rules and new boundaries. I have absolutely done that, especially in romantic relationships, but in friendships as well. Both seeing it directly as well as hearing it myself, because that's a two-parter, right? If you're going to be in relationship with someone and expect it to change and transform, that means you have just drawn a line in the sand and you have to stay on that side of the line as well. It doesn't just mean I have to act integrity with the rules I set. It also means when I say you don't do this, when I say you can't speak to me this way, I then walk into another room and close the door so that you can't speak to me this way. You know, like, I enforce my boundaries, not just expect you to do it and then kind of get up and then like Pokemon reaction. What? You didn't respect my boundary? Of course, if you have to set it, the person's probably not going to respect it. So you have to enforce your boundaries as well. So that is, what the tarot cards had to say to you in terms of smacking you in the face with interpersonal advice. I don't know your particular situation, but I hope that it is helpful. Okay. Who is next? I know I have a couple people. I believe Ruby is next. Let me take a look here. Ruby, Ren, and then Shipra, I think. Yeah. Okay. Ruby, I'm pulling a card for you right now. I want to let you know it's 11:59, so card requests are closed at this time. We have hit the end. I'm going to just get to the 3 people who are currently on deck, and then that's going to be it for this week. I usually go to an hour. I was the one yammering this week, so I'll go a little late, but then I got to get out of here because I have a festival to play. I'm a musician. Okay, so Ruby, this is for you. If you're on Long Island, come to Pine Barrens Jam today. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's at Blue Point Brewery. It's free. A lot of really great music and artists. If you're not local, that's cool. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, Ruby, your card is the 10 of Vessels. Happiness. Ruby, congratulations on getting the first, perky reading of the day. The 10 of Vessels is really, you need to give me an update, Ruby. You don't. It's not, as a friend, not as your tarot reader. I'm just super curious about everything that's been going on that you and I have talked about, a couple weeks ago. You're not required to. I didn't mean it to sound like a weird gossip. I'm just really curious. 10 of Vessels is a card about happiness. This is a card about family. This is a card about joy. This is a card about appreciating what you have and the work you've put in. And it's less about the practical work of, paying the bills and that kind of work, and more about the practical relationship work, the work on yourself, your own self-work, the work on making your relationships work, that give and take, navigating how to be good to each other in all of your relationships. And you have an opportunity for it to pay off right now. The full moon is coming, and you have an opportunity to just be overflowing with gratitude. You have a lot of good in your life, and you had a real hand in creating it, in stewarding that good, in stewarding your relationships so that they could bring you this type of joy, like a careful gardener taking good care of what you're growing. So I want to tell you, Ruby says, honestly surprised I got that. We'll talk. I miss you. I miss you too. But I do want to tell you there's a lot to be grateful for. If you're missing it, maybe take a moment to reflect on, what, especially in your close relationships, your family and chosen family, what feels good, and maybe you'll discover that there really are some things to be grateful for. And sometimes that gives us the fuel to move forward in a really healthy way. Ruby says, starting to make sense, not in the ways I was wondering, but I have much gratitude. Thank you. Yeah, I really definitely understand that. And I think sometimes the cards remind us of that, because that's where we need to look. When we are trying to make big change in our lives, I know you are, Ruby. I know many of us are in this group. I think that's part of what draws us together. When we're trying to make big change, sometimes the universe's only advice is look at what you have and be grateful. It's a resource. It's something you can draw on. Also, it is an example of something you have put energy into that is working. And sometimes we really need that. We really need to know, sometimes when I put my energy in, it really does blossom into something beautiful and special. And sometimes it's easy to forget that. Okay. Who is next? I know, I just went through it. I'm sorry. Okay, Ren, then Shipra, and then Connie. Right. I forgot you last time, Connie, but I got you. Ren, Shipra, Connie. Ren, here is your card. The Wanderer. The Wanderer relates to the Fool in this deck. Probably calling to mind that classic Tolkien quote, "Not all those who wander are lost." I gotta tell you, I have never made it through a Tolkien book. I know that I'm like the right target audience, and I tried, man. But I do really like that quote, "Not all who wander are lost." The Wanderer, you are called right now to honor your impulses rather than try to corral yourself. You talked about being chaotic rather than wanting routine. That's because you're at this really transformative period of your life where you get to kind of define the new chapter of your life as you go. I don't think you're at a time where it's appropriate for you to like map out and define it that way. I think it's more like it's going to be an immersive experience. And as you move forward and kind of follow the chaotic thread of your desire, you will create more than just like the road rolling out behind you. You'll create something that is meaningful for yourself. So this is a really wonderful, wonderful card for you. You have an opportunity for a new chapter right now. And I really encourage you to make that chapter, give it a foundation of joy. Give it a foundation of what could happen instead of what should I be doing right now. You know, give it a foundation of honoring yourself. Okay, Shipra, I'm pulling this for you. You asked about getting married. Like I said, the cards are not necessarily great for timing, and especially things like marriage. And I always tell people about this when I read for them about relationships, because free will is involved of not just one person, but two people, right? So it's not just about when will the fates decide this, because it's not just about fate, because we all make choices every day in our lives that affect things and affect our path. So anyway, all that to say, I'm going to pull a card for you and see what it says. Okay, this is a reversal, and it's the Page of Bows in reverse. The animal here is the stoat, a playful animal. Page of Bows. Bows are fire. This is about passion, certainly a foundation that people might build a courtship upon. And it's in reverse, which says to me that there's something perhaps external, perhaps internal, kind of holding you back from your own passion, from your own feelings of excitement that would spark something like a courtship, that would spark something like, yes, let's move forward with a relationship. You're in reverse right now. Now that might mean that you have this feeling of like, no, I'm ready to get started and I just don't see things lining up. I don't see the opportunity. And that's why you're in reverse. Like you have the energy, right? And yet the universe doesn't seem to be meeting it. And so what I would love for you to do is look inward here and ask yourself what it is you are wanting most, what you're wanting most around getting married, why it's so meaningful to you. Which I'm not, by the way, I'm not telling you it shouldn't be meaningful to you. I'm married. It's been a wonderful journey for me to be married. You know, I'm not telling you it shouldn't be an important thing to you, but I want to ask you, what are your feelings around it? And what is the pull it has for you? What's so important to you about it? What makes you feel excited about it and joyful? And I want to ask you if there are ways you can bring that type of excitement and joy into your life that don't necessarily center around a goal of getting married. That might just center around you showing up for yourself in the way you imagine that, you know, a relationship in your life would show up for you. You valuing yourself, you giving yourself special experiences, you going ahead and going after your dreams in life without waiting for like kind of the milestone of marriage to give you happiness. And that's not me telling you don't care about getting married. Like, please go ahead and pursue it. It's just me saying that it might be helpful to you right now to really steward your happiness. And you might find that by doing that, kind of contradictorily, that enables you to get into the right situation for yourself in terms of a relationship. That's what the cards have to say to you today. And I hope that's helpful. Okay, I have one more card, and it is for you, Connie, and then that's going to be that for the day. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody, to the Witchy Weather Report. She persists. Thank you. You're very welcome, and I really hope everyone, I'm giving my advice as best I can with the cards, and you know I don't like, I say this a million times a day, I don't like giving advice that's prescriptive. I don't like to say, do this. Instead, I like to ask questions and give y'all things to consider, because I think most often what we need when we're seeking advice isn't for someone to tell us what to do. It's the perspective that is going to help us understand what we want and how to get there. At least that's how I feel. I usually, when someone starts telling me what to do, even if I've asked them to, I'm like, stop. I don't want like to be told what to do. I want to understand what is needed for my happiness. And so I put these questions back on you because you know you best. And my goal is always to give you that perspective that empowers you to make really good choices for yourself, and maybe shows you that things are possible that you might not have thought about without that perspective shift. That's my goal as a reader. And if you like that, you can book readings with me. I have an Etsy shop, etsy.com/shop/Sassafras Tarot. It's scrolling across the bottom there. I'll drop it in the comment too. It's also, if you're on Instagram, it's in my, in the link in my bio. You can also subscribe to my podcast, Sassafras Cast, which is really all about that. In fact, I'm recording an episode tomorrow. If you are a patron, tomorrow is our day for a broadcast. It's going to be at 2 o'clock. And patrons, as you know, you get a virtual backstage pass, while I'm recording, so that your comments and your questions can get right into the podcast and you can see it unfold live. If you would like to be a part of that, join me on Patreon, patreon.com/Sassafras Tarot. It's not just about the podcast and getting to be, a part of it. It's also an opportunity to be a part of a wonderful community. We're really focused on each other's growth. We really all show up for each other and get real and get vulnerable together. We get witchy together. We talk about what we're doing spiritually and what we're doing practically, and we share pictures of our pets, and it's a really good vibe. So if you want in on that, patreon.com/Sassafras Tarot is the place to go. Whew, I've been talking a lot. This is my last card. I'm pulling a card for you, Connie, and then I'm bidding you all adieu. Okay, Connie. 7 of Bows. I really want to say the keyword on this card to you, just to start things off. Clearance. I want you to think about that. Not like my brain is like a clearance sale. I don't mean it like that, but I want you to think of the word clearance. Even a clearance sale is about clearing space. Why do stores have a clearance sale? Because they have new merchandise come in and they want to clear space for it. They have something that they think is going to do better for their business coming in, and they want to make room for it. That is what you are encouraged to do right now. You are encouraged to make space for the new. You have the opportunity for something better. You have the opportunity for a new chapter that will serve you better than what is currently happening. And in order for it to manifest, for it to happen, you need to make room for it. If you are still tied up in the stress and the worry of the old chapter, you're not going to have room in your life to accept this new reality that you're trying to create. So clearance is your keyword for this week. What does it look like to clear out anything that is cluttering up your time and your energy, so that you can make way for something better, so that you can make way for something that nourishes you better? That is my question for you. What would it look like? Are there things, especially as you go through your day, if you notice things that are depleting your mood, that are routine for you, but you kind of come out of them grumpy all the time, that feels like a prime candidate for clearance. And if it's not something, of course, sometimes there are things that are grumpy that we can't get rid of. Some people get grumpy about their jobs. Some people get grumpy about, things that always break in their house and they have to keep fixing because it's an old house, that kind of thing, whatever. There are a million reasons why you might have a chronic grumpiness around something, but it's a good time to ask yourself, if I can't eliminate this from my life completely, can I make it easier? Can I just, instead of having to fix this myself every time, just have a person I call so it doesn't have to always be on my shoulders? If something is not working for me in my day-to-day life with another person, can I have a conversation and reestablish some rules of how we work together so that it works better for both of us? It's a good time to kind of clear the clutter. And it's not just about throwing things out. Some of it's going to be about thinking like, okay, how do I make this so that it is not a clutter in my life? How do I make this so that, because there's probably a reason I'm doing it, how do I make it so that it becomes joyful again instead of feeling like a burden? That is your task this week, clearance. Okay. Thank you so much. If you missed our card for the week, everybody, it was the Tower, or the Blasted Oak in this deck. You may find chaotic, unexpected happenings this week, making things feel a lot more challenging. And as we discussed earlier, what's really happening is the universe is smacking you in the face with your next phase of growth. The universe is like, this is what you need to focus on. Oh, you weren't getting the message before? You were too wrapped up in other things? Well, guess what? Bam! Here's some chaos. Now everything's real clear, isn't it? Because chaos makes things clear. You know, when we have chaotic happenings, what a lot of people have said about like the last 18 months, which arguably were like the last 18 months in a long time, the most chaotic ones. What a lot of people have said is, you know what, it's been really hard, but I really have a clear sense of what matters and what doesn't matter in my life right now. And that's what chaos does to us. You know, when we have chaotic events transpire in our lives, we get real instant clarity of what's important and what's not important. So please treat that as a blessing. Notice that. Notice what's important and what's not important. And if you feel pushed to focus on the unimportant, I want to encourage you to question that. I want to encourage you to say, am I sure that I really have to do this? Or is this just like some belief I have or some other person's idea or opinion? And maybe I have permission to focus on what really, really matters right now. Because at the end of it, that's all, that's all there is. We have a choice between spending our time on what matters to us and spending our time on, the small stuff, or just like kind of nonsense maintenance admin of our lives. And I know that it's a weighted choice, and I know there are things we all have to do every day, but at the end of the day, every moment that you spend, you have choices about how to spend it. So allow this chaos to be a breath of fresh air to give you permission to focus on what really, really matters to you. Oh, thank you. Connie says, you're such an inspiration. Thank you so much. That really means the world to me. Okay, everyone. You're wonderful. Thank you for being in my community. I'll be back next week. Tell a friend to come to the Witchy Weather Report. I will be back 11 a.m. every Saturday, and I will be releasing a new podcast sometime this week. So make sure you subscribe to Sassafras Cast, just like it sounds, wherever you listen to podcasts, all one word. If you're a patron, our live recording of the podcast will be tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. That's 11 a.m. Pacific time and 7 p.m. UK time. I can't wait to see you. All right. Bye, everyone.